Hello, hello. Welcome to episode 16 of Baki Taki. We're covering the episode Slash today. That's the title, Slash. But a mediocre title does not mean that it's not going to be a great episode. And to help us, we have our first ever returning guest. I don't know if they're special or not. Put your hands together for Jack.
Man, I was so close. I was so close to getting a special designation. I was so close.
Maybe if this episode goes well at the end, we can decide if you're a special guest.
Wow. Okay, I'm really gonna work for this.
Everybody, I'm sure, has listened to Jack's episode because it's the first episode, and definitely by analytics, that's where everybody drops off. So Jack was with us on episode 1. So the only episode of Baki I believe you've actually seen is the first episode, and then you've been listening along with the podcast since then.
I have. I've listened to every episode. I'm Baki Taki's biggest fan. I am, part of the Walkie Talkie Baki Taki crew, and
join our Discord.
I am in the Discord. Everybody, join the Discord. It's a party in there. I'm entirely an auditory perceiver of Baki. I haven't seen many of the people. I haven't really seen a physical representation of half the people I hear about. This is the first time I ever saw Hanayama. I didn't know what he looked like.
And what a role for him. Also, I'm pretty sure that's the last time Hanayama does something in the anime, which is so stupid. He should hopefully come back in the next few seasons, but we'll see. Anyway, we already know Jack. We know what shows he watches. Barry, I believe. Let's jump in straight to the episode. So this episode starts off with... There's actually quite a few different scenes, and we'll start at the top. Continuing where we left off last week, Oliver is throwing around a giant man in a judo studio and trying to convince Sanada to give him a black belt.
Pretty impressive, right? Come on, Sonoda. Give me a black belt if I defeat them all. I mean, come on, man.
Jack, what did you think of this scene?
This scene was a blast. It was the first time I've really ever seen Oliver, Sanada, and then a very interesting addition, Goki Shifukawa. Like, some great characters in it. Oliver's a great character. He's so much... What happened to his face again? Did he get cut or something?
The episode hasn't aired yet. Doyle cut his face.
Okay.
Yeah. Snuck in as a sexy policewoman and then slashed his face.
Because there's a blank week that I actually don't know about. So there's this whole... interesting. Okay. The best part of this first scene are the faces and the face transition. There's a moment in there where, Oliver's trying to convince Sanada to give him a black belt.
How'd you like that throw, Sonoda? That ought to be worth at least a point.
Not a chance. For garbage like that, you get no points at all.
And Sanada graciously and annoyingly tells him that he has to put a person on their back in judo as opposed to on their stomach. And it's just two static frames of Oliver's faces from a beautiful smile to dropping to complete defeat.
It's like a Windows Movie Maker transition. Like it's
a cross dissolve. It's a full-on cross dissolve.
It's the type of shit I use when I'm making promotional stuff for the show. But I do that because I'm not an animator. I don't have an animation studio.
The first scene itself really hit home that a lot of this were just drawings that they were like moving around the screen for the most part. There was a lot of really just static images.
Oh yeah. No, they have great source references, but I don't know if the motion is really that great in this show.
No.
What I really loved in this scene, though, is just Oliver's enthusiasm. Just like, come on, you gotta give me a black belt for that. I just threw a 300-pound man into the ceiling.
I tossed him around like a rag doll. Are you blind or something? Come on.
Do you think it was fair that like he had to follow the judo rules? Like, I would say that he still had so for reference, Oliver threw the 300-pound man into the ceiling. And Sanada objected because, one, when he threw him, he lost control of him, which is important in judo. And two, when he fell on his, he fell on his stomach, which apparently is not allowed in judo. Judo sort of seems like a really lame martial art compared to whatever Mr. Oliver is using.
One-handed like discus or something with a human being.
Yeah, it is like a track and field event.
Yeah, it seems to be. I do think Sonata was in the right, though. You know, if we're talking about getting a black belt for judo exploits, then he does have to play by and then he did play by those rules, and he was still Sonata was a. I don't know why Sonata doesn't like Oliver, just because he makes everything look easy, I suppose.
What did you think of when Shibukawa decided to join the fray?
Shibukawa's he's a great addition. He is a great addition. He's totally shredded. Essentially, what happens is Shibukawa challenges Oliver to a round of judo throws, I guess.
So you're bored, are you? Well, maybe I can fix that for you.
And just as a reminder, Oliver is the buffest guy on the show. Shibukawa looks like a 5 foot tall old Japanese grandpa.
Yeah, with a weird haircut. Yeah, really short compared to Oliver, and I know it looks like he has no muscle mass on him. So Oliver is game to play, gets ready to throw him, and actually does, but Shibukawa flips in the air and lands on his feet, and then Oliver has like a flash of red in his eyes as he realizes that his whole arm was twisted and broken by Shibukawa in that motion.
And he literally just goes like, I don't want to play anymore. I'm done.
Sonoda, let's just forget all about that black belt.
Yeah, he has a moment of rage, and then he was like, twisted my arm like it was a twig or something.
He turned my right wrist into a pretzel.
And then, he gets a black belt.
And then he does get a black belt. So immediately you kind of like Shibukawa because, you know, he acknowledges how strong Oliver is, but the guy's obviously a monster and shredded. He's got a hefty six-pack and the buffest grandpa of the cast, I'd imagine.
No.
I
don't know. First of all, there's Spec, who's 100 years old. Also,
Spec's 100?
Yeah. Well, 97, I believe.
Oh, right. I forgot that in the episode.
Yeah. And also, there's once we get to see the next season, there's a 150-year-old Chinese martial arts master. Although he might not be as buff.
Okay. Well, at the very least, big fan of Shibukawa immediately. We'll want to see what's up for him. Hopefully good things.
Nah, we'll see. I can't even remember what he does.
He doesn't really do anything after this.
Well, he'll eventually have some stuff to do with Yanagi, and in a season or so, he'll have some really good fights with Muhammad Ali Jr. But we'll have to wait for that. So the next scene, we're introduced to a fighter that I honestly forgot was a part of this show, which has only happened twice, with Suedo and now with Kosho Shinogi.
Kosho Shinogi, a fighter in the underground arena and a practitioner of Shinogi-style slash-attack karate. He's known for his cord cut attack, which severs the opponent's nerves, permanently immobilizing them.
The basketball slasher, as I titled him in my notes.
Well, you could call him the basketball slasher or guy who plays Fruit Ninja in real life.
Yeah.
The whole first scene was just Fruit Ninja. He's just like chopping stuff up.
If by stuff you mean basketballs, because they were all basketballs.
And a piece of paper. It was really
true.
dangerous, you know?
That is a true martial arts feat. Like, you know, like fake martial arts guys, you see them like karate chop a brick or something.
Yeah.
The guys who can cut through paper, those guys have like a real black belt.
Really mean business.
So what did you think about Kosho?
Kosho was a great head of hair, frankly. Really good head of hair. Seems kind of cocky.
It's easy, really. But I've found that with the creative use of the hands and feet, there's almost no limit.
Immediately, you see the guy and you're thinking, oh, he's going up against Doyle. That's most certainly. His hands and feet are weapons, are blades. So why not go against the guy who is put blades all inside himself, I guess.
I guess. I thought he'd be a good matchup for Sikorsky because they both have really strong fingers that they use to cut people with.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, I suppose
they all
so.
sort of overlap each other at a certain point. Yeah.
But Kosho is a... had he been introduced earlier or no? This is the first time we met him.
The first in this anime, 20 years ago he was introduced.
Yeah, he's still looking pretty young, frankly, after 20 years.
Baki's still in high school after 20 years.
Oh, I don't want to think about that. Shinogi, yeah, I could root for the guy.
He's pretty...
not the most engaging of scenes, I would have to say. The rest of this stuff, like the opening and then the following scenes, are way more.
Well, I will say this scene does have one interesting thing. So Kosho, we're introduced to him training at the Shinshinkai dojo, and he starts a conversation with Katsumi, and Katsumi just casually drops that Kosho wants to fight Doyle for some reason. And Katsumi just says, we know where he is and we've been monitoring him the whole time.
He's up there, in room 701. We've been monitoring him 24/7. We know his movements, down to the smallest detail.
Who is we? Is this the Shinshinkai army again? Like, mobilized to watch Doyle? They've known where he is the whole time? Like...
The Shinshinkai are something else, obviously. They have connections everywhere that you could possibly go. Everybody has done martial arts in some capacity with the Shinshinkai.
So I wanted to get your thoughts on my favorite name for a character. So we are introduced to Doyle, and we get a really nice scene that sort of explains Doyle's whole gimmick in more detail.
Yeah, he's a magician.
Exactly. Don't worry, we'll get to that quote. But he's talking to a member of the American military.
Your body's a powerful weapon, I'll give you that, my friend. But isn't daily life a little difficult when you got razor blades popping out all the time?
Jerry Strydum, U.S. Army Colonel and old friend of Yujiro Hanma.
His name's Gary, but he pronounces it Jerry.
He says I missed that.
His name is Jerry, but it's spelled Gary.
R-Y. It's Gary.
Yeah. So he's, I don't know why he's there, really. So he's a friend of Yujiro. I guess he's there to see if maybe Doyle can be like the next Captain America and they can build a bunch of super soldiers after Doyle. But the basic concept for this scene is Doyle just explaining all of his gadgets and gizmos in his body. I want to get your thoughts on it, but I do just want to say my favorite quote, which is when Jerry points out how weird it is to stick things in your body to kill people with. Doyle's response is verbatim,
"It's a normal tactic that's used everywhere. Professional magicians all do it."
It's really one thing I've really missed in this episode was the narrator. I feel like there was not nearly enough narrator action. He kind of popped in to tell us about Jerry, and I think he talked to us about Goki Shibukawa.
I think he said Kosho's name. He's really sort of slipped into the sidelines as the season goes on,
which is a shame. It's a real shame. He's voiced like butter, honestly. In my mind, it reminds me of the synchronicity moment where they really just explain a whole concept in as elaborate a metaphor as possible. The whole crux of Doyle's thing is that, just like a magician, they kind of implant themselves with different tools that they can use for their tricks.
They just run a pipe or a hose through their body somewhere.
Through their body? That's impossible.
Not at all. It may not be the kind of thing that your average Joe on the street would ever consider doing to himself, but that's exactly why it's so worth doing. They invest considerable sums of money in surgeries to implant tubes or electrodes in their bodies.
But it's also completely different.
Surgeries.
It's completely different tools. Like, the things he's describing are like a hose that you can put beer in to shoot out of your hand. Meanwhile, Doyle's putting like razor blades that come out of his elbow. Like, his whole argument His whole argument is like, you wouldn't find it weird if a magician did it. Stop judging
me. We just haven't seen like the magician that has a bunch of knives all over the place. He's like a knife juggler, but he juggles himself. And then he also makes the point of that magicians and people of the like go undergo surgery to have these operations. Like this a magician who shoots beer out of a hose actually has a hose running through his body surgically, as opposed to just through his sleeve or something like that. So these very specific magician surgeries. And then he makes the other point of comparing his situation, which is a bunch of knives that he could, shoot out of his body by moving his fingers, to a person having a pacemaker.
Yeah. You wouldn't judge your grandpa, would you?
Yeah. Why are you judging me? Yeah, he's really making a very flimsy argument on the regularity of having knives poking out of your body.
I also think somebody lied to him. I think that magicians don't typically put hoses in their body to shoot beer out of their hands. I think that some surgeon tricked him into thinking that people do this all the time, and so he wouldn't be self-conscious about his knives.
Yeah, do you think he's like secretly really insecure about having gone through this surgery?
Yes, and that's why he's overcompensating with his big black trench coat. Or not trench coat, turtleneck.
Turtleneck. I still quite like Doyle because he is the best dressed of the bunch. I would say. I think so.
Yeah, him or Sikorsky. Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on at the end of this big diatribe, Jerry with a G says that anybody can put knives in their body and all this crap you do. What makes you different?
Yet, if every other vicious criminal who wants an edge on the competition can also have the same surgeries and weapons as you have, then what do you do?
And Doyle sort of puts his hand out, and then something happens. I don't know what happened. What happened?
I think he has like a go-go gadget, like spring shot fist or something. It seems like he has some sort of shotgun within his hand. I'm not entirely sure, but it makes no. It was a particular point to show that he could kind of like weaponize Air Force and kind of just like send a shockwave through the air.
It sort of feels like he's got a hose in his hand that instead of shooting a beer, he just blasts people with pressurized air.
Because they told me it was going to be beer.
Because it couldn't be his fist. Because like his fist is fully extended. Like if like you can't. Like unless his hand detaches from his wrist, like I don't know. Editor Steve here. Luckily, this is what the Baki wiki is for, so let's see what they have to say about Doyle's hand. He also has a switch located in his ring finger that makes his spring-loaded arm shoot out with such speed and force that it causes the face of those hit by it to sink into itself, almost turning inside out. So, very colorful language, first of all, but it seems like Jack's Inspector Gadget hand is probably the closest to what's actually happening.
The clip itself, his fist, he extends it, and then it goes a very close and dramatic close-up of his fist, kind of like shaking the screen. So, I don't know if arm does extend or something, but
it can't.
It also steams at the end of it. Oh, don't say can or can't with Doyle. Like, we all know he's pretty comfortable with whatever surgery works at this point.
What surgery? Like the rubber man fruit? Like he's not going to be able to stretch his arm.
We're gonna start talking about One Piece? Okay.
Oh no.
Let's go. No, but he's it's a magician surgery. Everybody's done it. Chris Angel.
This is just wanting me to like. I want to stop with these freaking convicts and just go all the way and get a magician fighter.
That would actually be a lot of fun.
Interrupting Doyle's sort of diatribe about how cool it is to put stuff in his body. Oh, also, I don't think we went over it, but just quickly, like the way he controls the knives is like he sort of moves his hands like a puppet master would and like clicks his fingers. It's very cool.
It is actually a pretty fun approach. He It seems like it all has different settings too. For about, I don't know, maybe 8 knives, it looks like he's doing a whole Naruto hand jutsu sometimes.
He just does it like for a minute and like swords come out of his back.
Tiny. One thing that unless it happens later, I am slightly disappointed by the lack of arsenal that is in this guy's body. I was wanting it to be like really, a broadsword comes out of his knee or something.
I think he
but
has
they're
some
all
more,
kind of like this.
I think he has some more tricks up his sleeve. We've only even seen the beginning of the fight this episode.
I suppose so.
To get to the beginning of that fight, so Kosho comes in and just absolutely kicks Doyle's ass. Like, he punches him in the neck, and then he punches him in the neck again. And Doyle's always been a pretty cool customer. He acts like his head was cut off when he gets punched in the neck.
He gets trashed. He totally beats the crap out of him. He opens with a kick right to his face that looks like it went, I don't know, supersonic or something. This guy kicks with like a blue comet on his toe.
Yep.
Yeah, Doyle is writhing after every single hit. Like he is on life support.
And then my favorite line is, so Doyle is like writhing after the third, and like the animation, like you can just see the guy's fingers poking right through like Doyle's neck, basically. Like it looks like extremely painful. Doyle's selling it. And then he says something along the lines of like,
as an ethical practitioner of karate, I never strike an opponent when he's on the ground, but I warn you, I will continue to knock you down each time you get up.
I would punch you, but it's against ethical karate to do so while you're on the ground. And I'm like, is it ethical karate to just keep hitting the guy in the neck? Like, this does not seem ethical.
And isn't he a part of the underground fighting ring? Isn't it kind of like no holds bar at that point?
Yeah, and what's his, like, this guy's slash technique is that, from what I can tell in that image of him fighting a bull, is that he rips out your nerves? I don't get this guy.
yeah. Kosho, I should have mentioned that. He is a pretty intimidating guy. It seems like half of his fighting technique, beside cutting you with his fingertips, are to grab your nerves and then sever them so you become immobilized.
I didn't even think nerves... I still don't think nerves look like they did in that drawing.
They looked like a rope,
thick.
didn't they? Or something like that. They didn't really look like nerve endings or something that are in your body.
And to be clear, inexplicably, the reference image we were shown was him fighting a bull. So maybe cow nerves look different than human nerves. But if you want more context on that... maybe editor Steve can fill it in, because I have no idea why he was fighting a bull in a freeze frame. It turns out in Kosho's past, he went to the running of the bulls and just straight up ripped the nerves out of a bull, because I guess he was looking for a tough fight.
Yeah, so Doyle is still kind of on the ground writhing, reaches out, extends his hand, to which Kosho sort of leans in, and then uses his air blast maneuver to just totally wallop Kosho in the face.
He's in range.
You don't know what happened. He just kind of makes a fist. It's like a 1-inch punch, but without the inch.
That is the perfect way to describe it. And just like before, Kosho really sells the discomfort here. And then I thought he was after his jaw was dislocated, I thought he was relocating his jaw. But according to Jerry, he was resetting a broken jaw.
He put his broken jaw back in place.
This made no sense. That's not how it works, man.
Yeah. He pushed it together really hard and the bone fused.
Yeah. I didn't realize that you could... Next time I break my arm, I'll just try and push it back into place, obviously. So it works for anything.
Yeah.
The physics of that, whatever that punch is just so ridiculous. I really have no idea what's going on there. I think his arm. I'm watching the clip right now, and I think his arm does extend.
But why? That doesn't make sense.
Maybe it's like his shoulder is hooked up to like a hydraulic press or something, so it goes.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Oh my god, that reminds me of the clip in the episode where they describe Mr. Oliver's strength as being like a machine.
Oh yeah.
Like hydraulic.
Well, they describe his stance at like a tree, and then his grip like a machine. There's a cutaway to both a tree and a machine.
Very colorful language. A machine.
Yeah. A machine.
Some machine.
It's pretty broad, like a toaster.
Oh, and the topic of pretty broads, we got to get over to that. But just to end up this storyline with Kosho, after relocating his jaw, Kosho gets into his "I'm gonna cut your nerve off" stance, and then Doyle clicks his fingers, and 6 blades come out of multiple parts of his body, and that's where the episode ends.
The general Jerry seems to know Kosho's "I'm gonna rip your nerves out" stance for whatever reason. I can't say I'm entirely sure why.
Why is he here in the first place? He's here
he
comment on fighting styles.
I suppose he also has very pretty eyes, so that's a really big factor to his presence.
Honestly, I really need to look up this character because he's so weird. He's the U.S. military version of Sonata in that he is an extremely buff-looking guy whose only job is to go, "Whoa! Oh no! They're so strong."
That attack to the throat nearly killed him, and it came without even a hint of warning. What precision! He hit the exact same spot again, but with his elbow. He's activated one of his blades.
He looks intimidating, but apparently he's small potatoes to nerve-ending guy.
No, yeah, this guy could cut somebody's nerves.
I would actually be very interested in watching that fight because it looks like a fun time. It seems like Doyle cannot take a hit though.
Yeah, he's not really the most defensive. I think that's the first hit we've ever seen him get, because the only other person he fought was Rob Robinson. Oh no, in last episode he gets absolutely walloped. I forgot about that.
By Oliver?
Oh yeah, he gets thrown around. Tune in last week to hear more. Anyway, I want to get to the final segment of the episode, which is, just like always when there's a lot of action going on, you can count on Kozue and Baki to be going on a date together. They're at the lake, or not the lake, more like, I don't know, a viaduct.
Yeah, viaduct.
And Baki skips a rock across the lake. Kozue says, "Oh, I bet I could do that." And she doesn't even get one skip.
Nice throw. I can do that too. Watch. I didn't even get one skip.
No, they do no justice to poor Kozue. Apparently, it's really... And she's the one who's excited about this whole thing. And then Baki is trying to ask her if she's all right when he's being all moody.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just talking because, Kozue was kidnapped probably a day ago. So she's probably still processing that. It's really tough to describe why, but Hanayama shows up and he starts talking to Baki, and he basically says, "Hey, do you want beautiful women? I could hook you up with a bunch of beautiful women, and all you have to do
as many as you want.
You can. Who cares about what's her name over here?"
Let me ask you, which would you rather have? A plain little girl like the one you've got here? Or would you rather have a real woman?
What's that supposed to mean? Are you moonlighting as a matchmaker?
Let me spell it out for you. If you decided you wanted someone else, someone other than her, I could provide you with as many women as you want.
Inexplicably, Kozue says, "You should do it. I wouldn't mind. I'd understand."
You should accept it. I would understand.
Don't say that!
What was going through your mind in this scene, Jack?
Well, poor Kozue really gets a bad rap for this entire. This episode does try and turn around her whole arc in one moment. Oh, yeah. But I guess she's feeling pretty bad about herself for being kidnapped, and she thinks Baki should
If only Baki had a harem of beautiful women, Sikorsky wouldn't be able to kidnap them all.
Exactly, that's the thing. There's safety in numbers, I suppose. But no, of course not. Baki is in love with Kozue, and no matter what Hanayama, the guy with really nice shoes, says, he isn't gonna budge on that. It's very I don't know, very respectable on Baki's part.
Well, yeah, but I would also call it the bare minimum. Like these situations that come up are, and this isn't the first. Like Baki has a lot of weird situations with Kozue, but like this is not a difficult decision, right? Like if some random guy comes up and offers to trade your girlfriend for random ladies that he will give you, like what? What is that?
I think I just got to set my feet on this one and say it's heroic and and explain in no detail why that is. I don't understand, but what does Hanayama stand to gain out of Baki going with his harem of women? Was there
I don't know why he's there.
Why was he offering?
I think this is supposed to be like. Well, the funny thing is, I'm pretty sure Hanayama is like 19 or something. Like he's pretty close in age to Baki. But
he looks like a 43-year-old man.
Oh, he does. Also, did you like his mask to hide the fact that his face blew up?
Oh, was he the guy who got shot through the face?
That's the thing.
No.
In this COVID world we live in, the fact that he's wearing a mask doesn't look that weird. But because this was animated in 2018, or drawn in 2000, it's because his face blew up. Yeah.
I didn't realize. I was wondering why he was, and I was like, you know what? It's just a fashion thing. He kind of looks intimidating. Sure.
Yeah.
It's because his face is all messed up. Okay.
Yeah. So Hanayama and Baki get into a bit of a verbal discussion. Baki ends up getting thrown into the viaduct, to which he responds that he doesn't.
I don't like getting wet.
Shouldn't have done that, Hanayama. I don't like getting wet.
That was my favorite line of the episode. He looks, throws him in like, "That's your mistake. I don't like getting wet."
Baki, much like my dog, does not like getting wet.
His teeth are really expressive in that scene. I gotta say, they're like tombstones and really, really showing off all of his pearly whites.
Yeah, I would even go so far as to say I was not a fan of the animation for Baki in this scene. His face looks weird.
Just get ready for Kozue looking like 6 different people in one scene.
Oh my god, yeah. She aged 20 years in some of those shots.
What happened?
I don't know. But here's the fun. So Samita a few episodes back described Baki as the most woke show of all time, and I think it lives up to it in this episode.
I think you're right.
I wrote down in my notes, Kozue, the feminist icon, kicks Hanayama in the shin, and she has a little monologue about. I guess I shouldn't call it a little monologue, but she has a monologue about how, she just finds basically the plot of Baki really stupid, and she's tired of people fighting each other, and why don't we just spend more time with the people we love?
You forgot something. You never mentioned my name. Even once. In your entire conversation.
Oh.
It's rude. Talking about someone like they weren't there. But women have always been treated this way by men. You talk of winning. Of getting stronger. Refusing to lose. And in all of that crap, the women, they are forgotten. Well, no more! I'm not gonna take
Kozue.
It's Kozue is kind of the well, obviously the feminist icon of the show. There's no other feminist icon to kind of like look after in this one. But really making a big impression for everything this show is not.
Really had to stretch that one.
Yeah. She starts kicking him. She starts kicking Hanayama repeatedly with not much force. But he seems awestruck by the fact that she's doing this. And
although later on when she throws a pebble at him, he does say that really hurt.
I know. There's the power scaling here is pretty bizarre.
It's like a David and Goliath thing. You know, David didn't kick Goliath in the shins. He threw a rock at him.
He did throw a rock at him. Kozue really stands up for herself because throughout the whole scene, Hanayama's only referring to Baki as if Kozue isn't an important character. And she's pretty much looking the audience in the face and the animators in the face, saying, I am an important character. I really matter here. And the animators respond by not remembering what she looks like in any single frame.
Yeah.
They animate her as a 14-year-old girl, a 22-year-old person, like a 32-year-old woman. It changes by the instant. Her chin changes, her whole
I think they were just having so much fun drawing female characters. They were like, let's bang them all out right now.
Same one, different one. Who cares?
Yeah. And that line about talking to the animators and everybody and saying how much I matter and that type of stuff. Because one of the saddest things I've found out about Kozue is I was on the Baki subreddit and I found out that she hasn't been in the manga in about 9 years.
Oh my.
But they didn't break up. She just hasn't been plot relevant in a decade.
You know, as long as a guy is throwing out switchblades from his elbows, who can be angry? Or Muhammad Ali Jr. shows up.
Very true. Very true.
I do want to say that her voice, the person in the dub's voice acting in that scene with the monologue was very good. I quite liked it.
I agree. And
she did a good job.
I always think the voice actors are killing it. Sometimes, and honestly, only occasionally, in an ironic way. Dorian's voice actor, I liked for different reasons.
Candy.
But I do think most of every time Mr. Oliver is on screen, I am really enjoying his voice actor this season.
Very good, yeah. Really sells it the whole 9 yards, and gets this whole up and down of Oliver being, deadly serious for a second and then entirely jovial.
Yeah. So, Jack, usually I would ask people if you thought that Baki was a good show, but I've asked that before, so I'm going to use this time to ask you: did you watch the ending credits?
I was wanting to talk about the ending credits.
So I just want to point out here. I want to point out here we didn't talk about this in Sumita's episode because this didn't happen in Sumita's episode. For some reason, they just play a different ending credits than for the rest of the season. So, Jack, can you explain what's happening in the ending credits?
Oh my god. It starts off with some sort of a lighthouse effect of a red light kind of swinging around the screen. And then it goes into this rogues gallery of all of these characters in Baki who don't don't make any sort of impact. The first people that I saw were my high school bullies from the first episode, to which I was very excited.
So yeah, so it's tough to tell, but they took every minor character from the show, every character who's in the show and doesn't really do much, and then it shows all of them in a sliding scale.
Yeah, it just across the board, and you don't know who these people are. There's a couple ones with the most bizarre faces ever.
You don't know who they are
because
you've watched 2 episodes.
Yeah, I suppose so. But I dare anybody who watched a single episode from the past
Did you see the congressman
outings.
was there from the submarine?
That's the thing. I don't remember what he looks like. Who knows about a congressman? I remember the high school bullies because of the chains. That's it.
Yeah, I remember
the chains that look like the chains that I think honestly kind of look like nerves. I guess by Baki's animator standards.
Yeah. See, I remember a few faces. I remember the guy who saw the Statue of Liberty was gonna collapse. I remember the guy who, the doctor who said that Speck is 97 years old. There's a lot of fun faces in that. Sergeant Takahira from episode 6, Sergeant Takahira's report.
Do you think in that case that this is a good? I usually in a lot of shows I don't actually pay much attention to the ending credits.
No, I don't think this is a good ending credit. I think this is one of the worst ones. I think it's really fun to watch once, and that's it.
Yeah, and the song, I'm not a big fan of the song. The opening was actually sort of fun, although shadowboxing by yourself is it makes it look like George Michael in that one episode of Arrested Development where he's doing Star Wars in his garage.
You're really in a George Michael phase right now. Yeah, no, I agree. I think this is probably the weakest intro and outro combination that we have. But any hoot.
But just before the end, it does finish on this buff ass monkey.
Oh yeah,
I have no idea who that is.
he'll come.
I want to know who this monkey is. What is this?
Just wait until he comes up. I'm pretty sure Boggy just says hello to him and then wanders off.
It looks like Bubbles started doing creatine or something like that.
What is?
It's
Bubbles
bizarre.
The monkey? What is
Bubbles the monkey is from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
see, I'm not a weeb, so I'm not a nerd.
Well,
Dragon Ball.
Yeah, you just watch Baki. How many times have you watched each episode? Like 4 times?
No, at least.
This
point.
Anyway. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Jack. It was a blast having you on for a second time. And who knows, maybe we'll get a third in before this this experience is over.
Is it special? Did I do it right?
All right, now it's time for me to plug the next guest who's going to be coming on the show. I don't know who it is. I do know that they're going to be a very special guest. Let's hear them introduce themselves.
Hello, welcome to Baki Taki episode 17, Dad! And today I have my special guest, and by that I mean my extra special guest, because she's my wife. It's Lindsay! Hi.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, that is very, very special. I can't argue with that.
And they get a very special episode next week. Anyway, if you enjoy the show, consider leaving a review. Or join the Baki Taki crew Discord. There's at least 6 people in there now, so we've got some good discussion going on. Also, if you tried to join last week, I just found out Discord links expire, so the new link will not expire. So sorry for any potential inconvenience. There's links in the episode description. But that's all the Baki we've got to talkie. So until next week, see you all.
I don't like
next
getting
time.
wet.
Thanks.